Nope. See, y'all thought y'all thought I might have just wanted to duck this out and chill out for a little bit, because technically I just got back from the great state of Chicago. The great state, the great city of Chicago. You can tell them my timing is off. But let's get to this. Right now, you thought I was going to let that slide? I wasn't letting none of that slide. We got some stuff to talk about. The Cleveland Browns is moving around. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns and what's going on with them. This whole thing with the Kenny Pickett, we're going to put a bow on that one because we got some stuff to talk about. How when you see the Pickett stuff right now, it fast forwards to the next part that we're going to get to. We got to talk about some other things too. I guess maybe we're going to talk about Arch Manning a little bit too. We got to get to the Arch Manning. Listen, the Savior is here. We're going to get to that as well. And y'all thought I was going to just let y'all slide on that? No. You're not going to be out here talking about there's nothing here to see. Y'all thought I was on vacation. I wasn't going to get y'all about that Pickett. No, we're going to get that together. Because this is a bigger part that we need to talk about. This is a bigger issue with the Cleveland Browns. And we're going to tie it all together the best way we know how to do. G. Bush is back from vacation only for a day. I'm going to be out the next couple of days. And we'll be back on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Tuesday. But it's time to get to it. It's your boy, G. Bush. And it is the Barbershop right here on the Barbershop. And it's the Barbershop. Get your coffee or your Coke or your Pepsi, whatever you got.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the Barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The Barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the Barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Happy football Saturday. It is here. College football season is underway. Football season is officially popping off. The Cleveland Browns are going to take on the Cincinnati Bengals in a couple of days here, about 2 weeks, about a week and some change. But football season is officially here. Shout out to everybody that's out there watching. You're sitting in front of your television. If you're watching in Big 10 country, if you're watching in Big 12 country, Pac-12, whatever the case may be, football season is upon us. G. Bush is back for the Barbershop, and I'm fresh off the road. I'm fresh off the road, and I had to get to it because we're going to give you a barbershop, whether you know it or not. We're going to get all the way to it right here on the Barbershop. So we got a lot to get to, right? Cleveland Browns, they made an announcement with what's going on with the Cleveland Browns and Kenny Pickett. They traded him, as I said they would trade him weeks ago. And I listen, just because I be out of town don't mean that I don't see what the comment section is. G. Bush stays in the comment section. Stop playing around with your boy. Y'all, I've been seeing y'all, where's G. Bush at? He doesn't have any more Shedeur Sanders conversations, so G. Bush is hiding. What you mean hiding? Why would I hide from you? First of all, I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. I hide from nobody. That's first and foremost. And why would I hide from somebody and I'm so handsome? Are you crazy? G. Bush, the biggest clown on the internet, is back, and I got to get to it. Talk about where I'm at. First and foremost, we're going to address some things. See, when I was in Chicago, right? I went on vacation in Chicago. Shout out to the great city of Chicago. We went there, and if you ever been there, great food, great shopping, bustling cities. And the great thing about Chicago I loved was a melting pot. It was a melting pot of so many different people from everywhere. I saw so many different languages, nationalities, so many people represented all over the globe, right? I saw people there that were all moving and just ready to get to it. I love the pace of Chicago, right? We come from Cleveland and we come from a Midwest town. And when I'm in Northeast Ohio, but when you get to Chicago, now you see a sense of urgency. People is moving. The Ubers is getting there in 2 minutes. Like this. Boom, 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 quick. We rented a car. We drove out there, right? Me, my mom, dad, my wife, we drove out there. And when we got there, we realized that when we looked around, ain't no room for parking cars. Ain't no room for just getting in your car going nowhere. It's a different type mode. But if you live in a major city from all around the country, you understand that. Guess what? Certain times you don't need a car. It's public transportation. It's the train. It's the bus. So you just see so many people moving and shaking and doing so many things and moving around. So first and foremost, that's what got me. But I noticed something. The Ubers, we get on the Uber and we get on the app and we put it in there and the people is there in 30 seconds. No lie. They're just right there ready to go. And you know why? I asked the driver, I said, how's business? How many people you pick up a day? He said, man, I'm doing 30, 40 runs right now, but that's slow. I said, it's slow season. You doing 30, 40 runs a day? Nah. He said, yeah, man, Chicago, we get it. We trying to get to the next guy, the next customer, the next drop off. Because there's a level of urgency. Because if you don't get it, somebody else gonna get it. If you ain't there to pick him up and say, and always saying, yes, you're not going to get the business that you need to get. And so I looked at it, I said, okay, that's crazy, right? I also started looking at the people. And I looked around and the people are moving with purpose, energy, got somewhere to go. All times of the day, all times of the night. When you get into the building, people is pinpoint focus. Boom. I got to get here. I got to get this. I got to get that. So I'm like, man, I feel like I'm sitting in one space and I'm slow motion. Then we get to the shoreline. Now think about it. Cleveland is on the Great Lakes. Cleveland is right on a Great Lake, just like Chicago is. Just like when you go to Canada, right? They got a Great Lake. They got the Niagara Falls, right? Buffalo. All these cities is on these Great Lakes. But some people do it better than others. When you take a look at it, you start to look and say, oh, goodness gracious. We go to the Navy Pier. We down there moving around. We like, man, this is crazy, bro. Like they got all kind of activities. They got boats and ships and inside amusement parks and restaurants, and people are just moving around, just being about moving and doing stuff and about commerce and about economy and about doing all these things. And you're like, that shoreline and my shoreline look like two completely different things. And they are. You come to Cleveland and there's nothing but the stadium up there and an airport and miles of rocks. You got the you got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Nothing else. You got the Great Lakes Science Center. Nothing else. No malls, no shopping, no places, no parks, no recreation, nothing to be seen here. And then you start to think, see, there's levels to it in life. That's why I always encourage people to travel. Because when you travel, you get to see the urgency and the collective identity of what that group is. I love the fact that when you go to other cities, you can see where they make it a point to invest in infrastructure. They make it a point to invest in roads and buildings and places so that people can want to come from all over the world to see. But it always takes a visionary. It takes a collective identity of a group moving in one direction and say, I'm going to make it better for the next generation than the one I came from. I always want to invest. I want it bigger and better. I want to imagine bigger and better. I want to put it to a point where people want to come from all around and say, look at the collective spirit of Cleveland, Ohio. Look how Cleveland do it. Look at their infrastructure here. The roads is built up nice. Buildings and they got skyscrapers and commerce, and people want to bring their businesses to be right down in downtown Cleveland because they bring it. They want it to be a destination. You say, G. Bush, you didn't spend half your time talking about your trip. I said, no, I really wasn't talking about my trip. I was talking about the mentality of a business. See, to have infrastructure like that, you have to have what we call a plan. You have to have a plan that's going to span 5 to 10 years. You got to have a plan that may span further than your life expectancy. And for the Cleveland Browns, when we talk about football, I still don't see the plan. I see other teams with a plan. I see other teams with the infrastructure. I just don't see the plan for the Cleveland Browns. And when we get here and we take a look at what's going on right now, and we take a look at what the Kenny Pickett move was, my thumbnail asks a very pertinent question. What was the point? What was the point of having Kenny Pickett on your roster, eating up reps, taking up space, taking up time and energy? Here's the point. Not only that, you had people spreading random propaganda about how great Kenny was, about how he was going to start and play, and how he was actually the best thing moving that was in the locker room. To me, I've always questioned on air, what the heck are we talking about, and what do you mean? How you figure that he was the top of the food chain? I always question and wonder, what are you seeing that I haven't seen on tape in his whole entire life, right? What are we talking about here? And then you get to things like this. We'll throw it in here. I'm just having a real quick conversation. Now, remember, this is at the beginning of the season. Rumors. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel will take number 1 and number 2 reps for the Cleveland Browns when OTAs appear, per Mary Kay Cabot. In terms of their battling order and team drills, it would likely be Pickett and Gabriel at number 1 and 2, and Flacco and Sanders splitting 3rd and 4th team reps. I wonder what happened to that. You see, here's the greater problem in which I throw my thumbnail up there. Here's the greater issue here. Is the Cleveland Browns issue these statements and issue this stuff, and instead of our media questioning it, saying, I don't know what they're looking at, they take it and run with it. And run with it like it's the gospel. And the whole entire time we're sitting here looking around being like, what are you talking about? Like, what crazy Kenny Pickett highlights did you see? What amazing Kenny Pickett throws have you seen? They're the same exact thing that we've been talking about for forever. And at the end of the day, now that Kenny Pickett has moved on and gone, the problem is this. I don't have a problem with the Kenny Pickett situation in terms of moving him or whatever that is. It goes to a greater problem. What are the Cleveland Browns looking at when they identify quarterbacks, and how are they going to do that moving forward if they don't have one? This blog isn't about Kenny Pickett and whether he was good or not. Everybody knew he was not that good. Everybody knew that. We've been told you. When they traded him, I told you, didn't I? I said, listen, come on now. Well, we had name after name after name after name. Keep telling me what the Cleveland Browns want them to hear. Every week is come out and tell what the Cleveland Browns like. Well, the Browns have identified him. The Browns have identified him. Is this state-run media? Or are we supposed to just go along with that? Listen, maybe if you forgot, I'll go. This is courtesy of 92.3 The Fan. I'll give it to you. It's courtesy of 92.3 The Fan. Let's figure out. Let's get.
All right, Mary Kay, I have said, and don't feel bad at all if you need to call me out and say I am way off base, but I have kind of said recently, I think there are some people in that building who think the best quarterback there that can help them win the most is actually not Joe Flacco, it's not Shedeur, it's not Dillon Gabriel, it's Kenny Pickett. Do you believe that? He is the guy they went and got first, so somebody has got to like him.
Stop. By the way, this is courtesy of 92.3 The Fan. I gave you a narrative way back then. I gave you it, right? I broke it down to you. I said this. What order does someone get required mean anything? Here's the problem, people. Can you play or can you not play? Are you good or not? Are you not good? And here's the premise that I get right here. I'm an opinion person. And the Cleveland Browns have been given this level of the Cleveland Browns have been given a level of autonomy and a level of respect that if they just say they like something, we just run with it. Since when has that become the game? The Cleveland Browns like it and identified him. So that means that no, some people brought this dude in and it was a waste of time, energy, and effort. And it goes to the main point of this video. The main point of this video is, do you have the people that are in charge that understand what they are doing? Do they know who they are identifying when they're taking quarterbacks? Do they know what skill set translate or don't translate? Or are they just throwing stuff at the wall? Because I ask you, when you traded him for a 5th round pick, now watch this. They traded him in a 5th round pick for DTR, right? DTR in a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett, right? DTR got cut. So you drafted him. He'd been cut by 2 teams. So could he play? No. You drafted him last year, 5th round. Okay. You then go get Kenny Pickett. You bring him in. He didn't play the entire preseason. Here's the premise which makes it sound wild. It ain't the fact that y'all think that he was so gonna be so crazy. The problem is this. If you liked him so much and you thought he was that good, would you have traded him for a 5th round pick after you gave him all those reps? Kenny Pickett was getting reps with ones. He was at the top of the pecking order. And all the time, while you had Kenny Pickett taking them reps and Tyler Huntley taking them reps, even if you like Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders or Joe Flacco, you could have been giving those reps to Flacco to get more acclimated, to Dillon Gabriel if you want to see what he got, and to Shedeur Sanders the entire camp. But you wasted our time, energy, and effort in swapping the guy for the same thing you traded him for. It's a wash. As a matter of fact, I argue that you are worse because now you don't even get those reps to give. You just used them on what? Getting him ready to go play it with the Raiders? And anybody who knew football, anybody that knows the Cleveland Browns, anybody that it was painfully obvious the entire time that he could not play. We have people coming on air every single week telling you why this guy is good. And when you ask them, why do you think he's good? Their answer is, well, the Browns think he's good, so that's good enough for me. Come on.
Well, that's another thing that I've been writing for a very, very long time about Kenny Pickett, that the Browns brought him in here to really challenge for that starting job and make a good run at it and be their bridge quarterback until one of their young guys was ready. So that was the plan. And if you remember, they didn't sign Joe until April 11th. So it was deep into free agency.
What does that have to do with anything? What is it? When did this is the problem? And this is the problem for a lot of Cleveland Browns people, and it goes back to my monologue, is we have no clue what the hell we're looking at. We have no clue anymore what we are looking at when you're identifying players and identifying talent. When you throw a person's name out here, nobody knows whether or not they're good or not because everybody's waiting for them to tell somebody. Here's what happens when you're not watching no film. Here's what happens when you don't watch it for yourself. You got a bunch of people telling us that this is it, and then you don't even look at it. You're just like, okay, I'll believe it. I'll take it. Yeah, you're right.
When they added Joe to the roster, you don't do that if you think that guy is going to be your starting quarterback. So I believe that heading into the offseason program, Kenny Pickett was QB1. I think he was coming along well, and I think he was firmly in the mix to start week 1, along with Joe for the most part, until he suffered the hamstring injury, and then he just couldn't be in the competition anymore. And obviously, you know, we've seen how that has turned out. But absolutely, that was the plan for him to come in and really make a run at that starting job.
And that was courtesy of 92.3 The Fan. Obviously, it didn't play out the way that they wanted to. He ended up getting traded. It is what it is. Which brings me to my next point. Y'all all told us that Kenny Pickett was that deal. He was the deal. He was supposed to be cooking. He was in the mix. The Browns loved him. Well, guess what? The Browns loved him and traded him in the very next breath. I don't think they know what they're talking about, frankly. And let me give you this. I don't think that most of you know what you're talking about either. Exhibit C. This is the dude we're tanking for. This is the guy we are losing every single game for. Do you know whose stats these are? Do you know whose beautiful stats these are? I waited just to see a little bit. I wanted to see with my own two eyes. I wanted to look and see what the energy level was around him. See, because I remember before I went on vacation, before I left and went on vacation, I was told that it didn't matter what we did this year because we had Arch of Nazareth. We had the next coming on deck. Now, I don't know if you could put in the comment section whether or not you watched this or not. Maybe you saw the game. Maybe my eyes didn't see it. But I didn't see no Savior out there today. What Savior did? I didn't see no walking on water today. I didn't see any turning water into wine today. I saw Arch Manning. He should have thrown 2 picks. Now, don't get me twisted. I'm not sitting there hating on him. G. Bush, you're a hater. He was at the Horseshoe. He was at the Horseshoe, G. Bush. He was at the Horseshoe. And it was first the number 3 team, the defending national champions. I so eloquently remember when y'all told me when somebody else played against the defending national championship, it didn't count because they didn't have all their players back. You told me that I couldn't count no TCU versus Colorado because all of the people, all them people from TCU was gone. They was gone. They had a different squad. Who cares if they went to the national championship? Okay, well, Ohio State won it this year. Texas just reload. That's what they do. I saw errant throws. I saw overthrows. I saw skittish in the pocket. And you know what? This is not a knock towards Arch Manning. There is no knock for Arch Manning. But let me explain where I'm going with this. This is the problem when you got grown people in the media, grown, paying taxes, who want to stake your organization. They want to stake the organization on losing every single game to play the lottery to draft 18 to 21-year-old young men. This is a generational class. This is generational. These are not generational numbers. I saw no generational throws. Can he get there? Sure. But you know what? It's young. He's young. He needs seasoning. He needs some time to develop, right? He may be good in a couple of years. But I'm just saying this to remind you all that stop looking for random saviors and losing games in the meantime while you telling me nothing matters. Well, go watch the University of Texas thing, because that's what we want to do. Go watch you want to watch LSU and you want to watch South Carolina, go ahead and do it, right? But this is the savior that you guys want to build up. And when you ask him, did you see him play last year? No. Because guess what? It goes back to the main storyline. You only listen to what people tell you. I was told, did you look? No, but I was told that I was told outside it was December. No, you fool. If you looked at the calendar yourself, you know it was August. But I was told it was December. Same way you was told Kenny Pickett was good and wasn't going to get traded. But those who know, we told you what it was. And guess what? Here's the problem. You want to lose games so you can get said quarterback. Don't even got to be Arch Manning. Don't even got to be. By the way, this could have been 2 interceptions. They overturned one of them. There should have been 2 picks. They overturned one of them picks. Again, if you sitting here, G. Bush, you're just hating on the kid. You're just hating, bro. You're hating, bro. Listen, I'm hating, but I just saw a game where Shedeur Sanders played, and he played poorly, and I heard people doing victory laps about this is why 31 other teams didn't want him. Oh, but we can rationalize this one, right? See, that's what we do. We can rationalize. If I like you, I can rationalize whether this is a really bad loss. Some people are going to say, listen, it was a really bad loss. It was his first start. He was in the horseshoe. It was a tough environment. I don't think the coach did anything to help him out. They should have had more motion plays or whatever the case may be. Listen, there was a couple throws that were high. Maybe the receivers ran the wrong. Stop. But this is the guy you're going to tell Myles Garrett to lose all the games for. We're losing games all year for one Arch Manning. This is what we're gonna do? All right, listen. This wasn't an Arch Manning video. I was just throwing it out there. I wasn't gonna do too much today. I just wanted to see, because 17 of 30, 56% completions, 170, 1 touchdown, 5 point. This right here is not tank for somebody. By the way, the last 3 or 4 times we've been told about generational type players, players they can't miss, all of them miss. By the way, he's the best he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Well, listen, I like Andrew Luck a lot, but he ain't going to the Hall of Fame. He retired abruptly. See, that's the part when we talk about football that people don't get. The part about football is you guys, there ain't never been a team that tanked on purpose to get somebody that's ever been rewarded for it. They tanked supposedly for Matt Leinart. Guess what? Matt Leinart came back his senior year and didn't even win the Heisman and went in the 11th in the draft. Not 11. They said stuck for luck. Yeah, they had Peyton Manning. They traded him. Peyton Manning went to the Broncos, won a Super Bowl. Andrew Luck abruptly retired because they couldn't draft linemen to protect him. Trevor Lawrence is Goldilocks. Long flowing Trevor Lawrence, the best quarterback we've seen in 45 years. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is looking so great right now. How'd that work out for the Jaguars? He's doing so great that we're hoping that the Jaguars suck so we can actually get the first pick overall to draft a quarterback. That's how great he is. And we get people every single week right here in Cleveland say this season is about finding a quarterback in next year's draft. I bet not. I bet not. And we're building to something here. We're building to something. Y'all always be telling me somebody is good, but don't be good. And the process that we're getting to is with Kevin Stefanski. Let's talk about Dillon Gabriel a little bit. Can we talk about that a little bit? So, Dillon Gabriel is going to be the backup quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. How often have they told us how much they like Dillon Gabriel, right? The Cleveland Browns had the number 2 overall pick. They traded it. They could have got any quarterback in the draft besides Cam Ward. Is that correct? You let me know if I'm correct in the chat. I just want to know. I want to know. Yes, correct. Yes. They could have got Jackson Dart, Tyler Shook, whoever they wanted. They chose Dillon Gabriel because they said they like Dillon Gabriel and they like his makeup. Okay. Now, Dillon Gabriel is the second string quarterback. If Joe Flacco goes down, as of today, Dillon Gabriel will be said what? He'll be the second quarterback. Now, let me ask you a question. If they like you, if they put you in position, they've obviously given you the reps. They've identified you out of all the quarterbacks that they want to play, right? If Dillon Gabriel doesn't turn out to be anything, should Kevin Stefanski get a free pass? That's a question. I'm throwing it to you. I'm just asking. We're working towards something here. Because where I'm going with this is there's been this attempt to absolve Mr. Stefanski of everything. There's been this attempt to absolve him of any wrongdoing ever. If the quarterback don't play up to snuff, it's the quarterback's fault. If the offensive coordinator don't ball and they don't get plays that, if the offensive coordinator doesn't have any sort of, explosive offenses, they're gone. Van Pelt and Dorsey. But I find it funny that when he's calling the plays and it don't work, it's okay. You've got an opportunity to pick how many quarterbacks? How many quarterbacks have you handpicked? Whether it's free agents, whether it's quarterbacks you could have drafted, quarterbacks that you could have played. You identified that Dillon Gabriel was better than Shedeur Sanders, correct? Am I correct? You've identified that. If Dillon Gabriel does not work, whose fault is that? Is it just Dillon Gabriel ain't good, or is it you for evaluating and saying that's your guy? Because here's the reality of the situation. Here's the reality. He's your guy, right? So the narrative that this is a free run or a free situation or a free get out of jail free card or this season don't count is abjectly false. It's abjectly false. You picked them. You picked these guys, right? But now the narrative is, okay, we got a quarterback. We like him. We like him this much. We like him. It's the same way we had with Kenny Pickett. You traded for Kenny Pickett, and then you realized Kenny Pickett wasn't good, right? So you trade Kenny Pickett away. But then again, you drafted DTR, and you found out he wasn't good. Then again, you drafted, you traded for Kellen Mond, and you went and got Jacoby Brissett, and you traded for Deshaun Watson. You said Baker Mayfield was not worth the bread, right? You said he wasn't worth the money. You let him walk. At the end of the day, my question to everybody out there is, as we sit here in the comment section, as we sit here, chat, what makes him Teflon? Why is all of a sudden we can lose all our games after winning 3 games last year, and then he gets to get another quarterback? Well, what I'm posing to you is this. How do you know he knows what to identify what a quarterback is anyway? Who has he hit on? What hit have you hit on? Ask yourself this. Once Joe Flacco played for you well, if you was identifying, understood what it was, why did you not offer Joe Flacco a contract after last year, after we went to the playoffs in 2023? You didn't even offer him a deal. You saw him play. But now all of a sudden you had to go back and get Joe Flacco and make him the starter this year. You couldn't evaluate that? My problem with the Cleveland Browns and my problem with the Cleveland Browns has always been they're a man without any country, right? Like Avon told Stringer Bell, you not corporate enough to do it the legit way, but you ain't street enough to do it the gangster way. If the Cleveland Browns was about that life and developing, simply go out, identify a quarterback in the draft, give them the reps, and play them, which I would have said you should have did from Jump Street. You got 2 rookies, play them. But instead of standing on business and thinking that you can develop people, what do? You go out and get a retread that everybody in the league has already determined is not a starting quarterback. You then compound things in the mistake by getting him and then realizing, oh, well, hold on. What if he's not good? All right, we'll just go get Joe Flacco. Yeah, we'll get Flacco and then have 2 veterans now. So it'll cover our bet. So now you got 2 veterans, you drafted 2 rookies, and now you're going to just compound it by not giving rookies reps. So then you're going to give Pickett reps because you don't want to look stupid because we did give a 5th-round pick. Why would you give a 5th-round pick away for Pickett and then not give him reps? It's going to make it look like you don't know what you're looking at. So now they got to give him reps. He wastes the reps, and you deal him for what you sold him for, which is a break even. When all you had to really do was stand on business. You drafted the people, play them, give them reps, and keep it pushing. That's the part that irks me the most when you get to this. To me, it screams like, what are we doing? It makes you want to bang your head against the wall, right? It just makes you say, what the heck are we doing? Now, let me give you this, because I told you I wasn't going to be here very long. I told you we weren't going to be here very long. And I was reading this as we talk about this. I was reading this a little bit, and it hit me. All files. Here we go. Here we go. And this is what we do all the time, right? This is from Carl Sandburg. He's I don't know if he's a lawyer or a law professor, but he's somewhere in the legal field. And he says, if the facts aren't against, if the facts are against you, argue the law. If the law is against you, argue the facts. If the law and the facts are against you, pound the table and yell like hell. And this wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't so devastating in terms of the way things go. And you say, what does this really mean, G. Bush? Well, I'm glad you asked, because what we do over here is we try to educate you. Let's talk about it a little bit. What does that really mean? So we talk about it. When evidence is not on your side, attack the process. It's a legal tactic where a party lacking strong evidence challenges the way a case is being handled or presented rather than the substances of the evidence itself. There you go. So when you ask yourself, and this all wraps into one, when you talk about you don't know, you don't have a plan, you don't know what you're looking for, you don't understand what quarterback play is, and you're just throwing things out there, right? When you say that a person is going to be good just because their last name is Manning, what are you doing? When you say just because they picked Kenny Pickett, and they picked Kenny Pickett first in free agency during the period, that means that he is going to be the starting quarterback or has an odds-on favorite. What are you talking about? This is right out of this definition. The evidence isn't on your side. The evidence is the tape. The evidence is the proof on the field. The evidence is what? You said Arch Manning is going to be great. He might be good one day, but Arch Manning has played 2 games. How do you base tanking an entire season on a draft class because he's played 2 games? Well, now he has 3, and he didn't look so good in this one. What are we doing? Right? Let's continue on. This could involve attempting to have evidence excluded, discrediting witnesses through cross-examination, or arguing that the evidence does not meet legal standards, ultimately aiming to weaken the opposing case or create doubt in judgment in jury's mind. Well, look, why do you think people, I listened over the last week, I don't think any of the guys are on this roster. I don't think any of the guys are on this roster. I don't think the Browns have the quarterback in this. Listen, you're not saying that you've seen evidence that person is not, because obviously you haven't seen him play or not. enough. And obviously during camp, when you could have got an opportunity to see him, they were playing Kenny Pickett and not giving guys an opportunity to show what they could really do. There is no evidence that, oh my goodness, the guy isn't on the roster. You're just saying that. Of course you would say that. Because the facts are not on your side. The tape always said Kenny Pickett wasn't that good. And in the age, the birth certificate say Joe Flacco it was one step out of being retired. That's what the facts say. It's also related to the legal concept of abuse of process, where a legal procedure is used in improper purpose. When we talk about these type of things, right, and we talk about the process, when you aren't good and when you don't have an idea what you're doing or what you're talking about, the first thing that they always tell you is the process. Processes don't make you win games. Processes aren't what's going to keep you warm at night. I don't care what the Browns' process is. I care about winning football games. I care about developing people. And the number one annoying thing that I don't like and I can't deal with is, look, we are in an industry where we cover sports. We get an opportunity and a privilege to cover sports for a living. Far too many times, I have seen where people are discounting what the competitive nature and the core of sports is. The core of what sports is in the United States is a group of people collectively coming together to make something greater than what they are. For people to consistently sit here and tell me in their own mind that they have made up that regular season don't count, preseason don't count. The only thing counts is championships. The only thing that counts is the playoffs. This practice don't count. This don't count. That don't count. No, my good sir, you don't have the cachet to say that about the game. Those who play the game, those who understand the game, those who have been injured playing the game, those who are out there every day consistently getting better and trying to work to do something, those individuals, it matters how it goes down. The most annoying thing that gets me, and the most annoying thing as we sit back a week before this is, we talk about Shedeur Sanders and we talk about all the stuff with Dillon Gabriel and we talk about everything. People will elevate what they want to elevate, diminish what they want to diminish, get to what they want to get to. It didn't matter to people that Shedeur Sanders outplayed Dillon Gabriel the entire preseason. It didn't matter that Dillon Gabriel didn't have a good game before he had a nice drive at the end of the fourth quarter. They isolated the position where Dillon Gabriel in a 2-minute drill, the last preseason game, played very well. They elevated that portion over any and everything that people talk about because that is what they counted. That is what they felt was good. My point of this entire conversation, whether it's been about quarterback play or the Cleveland Browns in general, is it counts. All of it counts. Because when you get to the regular season and you get to a point when you're playing against other teams that are trying to win and other teams that got their jobs on the line, you need to be prepared and ready to go in order to win football games. And the biggest travesty of this whole thing is the Cleveland Browns are less prepared now than they would have been if they would have just played the two young dudes and gave them the opportunity. But they played around with it. You played around the whole preseason. You played around with the quarterback situation. And now we get to a position during the season where it counts. And you could have been more ready. If Joe Flacco, and by the way, this is unequivocally facts. If Joe Flacco gets hurt today, are the rookies more ready to play or less ready? The answer is less. As a matter of fact, Joe Flacco didn't play the entire preseason. If Joe Flacco comes out and looks rusty for the first 3 games, no, that's not the way it works. And for a lot of people, this thing sticks in my craw. It matters. It's time out for people getting on TV, getting on podcasts and saying practice don't count. OTAs don't count. First 4 games don't count. Yes, they do. Because my question is this: if it don't count, how is it that you can go 3-14 last year, you get to this year, and you got people that's covering the team telling me it's all about next year? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. No. And what part did Myles Garrett lie about? So you can't have it both ways. When Myles Garrett came out and said, well, get me the heck up out of here, you said that he was selfish, he was a player that didn't want to play, and they gave him too much money. But then 4 weeks later, when you say, well, it's all about finding the draft, it's all about finding the franchise quarterback, and you're like, hold on, wasn't you the same person that said that Myles Garrett was selfish and not want to be here? So which is it? Are we going to win games or are we not going to win games? Do we want to win or not? What are we doing? And as we embark on the Cleveland Browns season coming up in 2 weeks, I'm excited for the season, not because a specific player is playing, not because a specific team is playing, not because this is specific. I'm excited for the Cleveland Browns to play because guess what? It's an opportunity to see who wants to be about something. You got to go earn it. You got to go get it. So we're going to get a chance to see who's about that life and who's going to go get it. But it's time out for people trying to give people Coach Stefanski this pass as if he's going to do what he's going to do this year, tank all the quarterbacks. They ain't no good. Let's go lose some more games, get up to the number 1 pick, and draft some more quarterbacks. Draft some more quarterbacks. By the way, I'm going to just put it down real quickly, just so you know. Here's a list of quarterbacks. Here they go. I keep them on deck. You tell me which ones was highly touted. That's another thing. Every single year, you look at 2020, how many quarterbacks we got in Cleveland? How many quarterbacks done went through the system? You had Baker 2 years in a row, 19 and 20. That's it. 20 Stefanski came in. The very next year, you had Baker, Case Keenum, Nick Mullins. Very next year, you got 2 more quarterbacks. They move on for Baker, decide he won Nick, bring in Case Keenum, the highest paid backup, and guess what? That didn't work. You get Jacoby Brissett. They traded for Deshaun Watson. He got brought Jacoby in. Then you still had Watson. Then the year you had Flacco. You had DTR, which they drafted. They brought P.J. Walker in themselves. They signed Jeff Driscoll. That's another 4 quarterbacks. 2024, you had Jameis Winston in, right? You went and got him. But then when he started playing, you said, no, I don't want to be held at offense. What? You had Deshaun Watson, DTR again, Bailey Zappi. You brought Bailey Zappi back. By the way, you brought him back. You drafted Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel's the backup. Shedeur barely played in the preseason, and he's the 3rd quarterback. And you got Joe Flacco, which you brought back from 2023. Let's stop acting like Kevin Stefanski is who picked these people. They didn't just show up with a book bag. He picked them. So my question is to you, if Dillon Gabriel doesn't play well or is not the guy we thought he was, what faith do you have in Kevin Stefanski dealing with another franchise quarterback or a quarterback in the top 10? I'm asking a question because, and by the way, let's continue to look at this. These are his offenses. He's the genius. He's the guru, remember? He's the guru, right? This was his only year in Minnesota. 24th in passing yards. 24th in passing yards. Okay? Let's look at these passing yards. 2020 in Cleveland. 27th in passing yards. 28 in passing attempts. Ran the ball pretty well, right? 3rd in rushing attempts, 4th in attempts, 3rd in yards. That's when you had a prime Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, right? Prime. Let's look at 2021. Oh, here we go again. Passing yards, 27th. Passing attempts, 28th. Where's this juggernaut offense I'm looking for? I was hoping to find the juggernaut. Let's take a look at 2022. 23rd in passing. 23rd and 21st in passing attempts. I'm looking now. Listen, let's take a look at this offense. Okay, they cracked the top 20. Passing attempts 5th. Passing yards almost 19th, right? They cracked the top 20 in passing yards that year. Let's get to 2024. That was the year they went to the playoffs, right? Let's go to 2024. 32nd in points, 28th in yards, 31 in average yards per play. It's only 32 teams. 29th in rushing yards, 28th in attempts, 23rd in rushing average, 20th in, it's so much red in this ledger that I can't even really see no green. The question I ask you is this: when is there any accountability? Season ain't started yet. I'm hoping for the best for the Cleveland Browns, but my question is, when is the accountability? How many quarterbacks do you get? How many years do you get? How many years do you say this don't matter? How many weeks and months and years do you get to develop your program? This year 6. At what point is there any accountability for the guy calling the shots? Because for me, I'm going into this year and I want to evaluate how he goes about developing 2 young quarterbacks. It ain't the fact that you drafted them. How do you develop them? What are you doing, right? I look at it as 2 different ways you could go about things. I got a Great Lakes shoreline and Chicago got a Great Lakes shoreline. I know which one I want to live on. I know which one I want to visit. One of them got a lot of stuff to do. The one of them, not so much. That just goes to show you, you can have one quarterback and you can have another quarterback, but it's about the development. If you think young quarterbacks are going to come in here and just save you, you're crazy. If you think that you're going to draft a young 21-year-old quarterback and he's going to come in here and he's going to be a finished product and we're going to ride off into the sunset and be happily ever after, you're crazy. It takes development. It takes reps. It takes, hold on. Maybe a couple of plays with the ones. Maybe you throw the top 1 or 2 receivers every now and again. Maybe I'm out of pocket here. But what I want to do is I want to set the tone and I want to let it be known. Y'all can go up here and rub his shoulders. You could do whatever you want to. That's your prerogative. You can write nice stories about him, how Kevin Stefanski's beard is great, how Kevin Stefanski, he gets a rough, whatever. You can write whatever you want. But under no circumstances is Kevin Stefanski going to float around with a 3-win team, a 2-win team, like he's Daryl Morey tanking with the Sixers, and people not going to say nothing. I'm not doing it. We do it year after year with him. So you found your quarterbacks. You like what you got. I want to see how you, I want to see what a development. Don't tell me, show me. I want to see it. I need to see it. And as far as the media goes, stop it with all the extra stuff. As far as the media goes, do your own research and stop running around talking about people because their last name is something. I thought it was bad doing that because I could have swore we had somebody with a last name that was famous. That was a bad thing. See, this is why you don't get followers, G. Bush. That's why they don't follow you like that. You can't be mentioning the facts like that. I thought it was over. I thought y'all didn't like name over substance. Maybe this is why we can't talk. Let's get to it. P. Rothstein. We appreciate the super chat, my brother. I watched the game today, and Arch made about 3 good plays. Other than that, he looked average. The 3 plays were really good plays, but he's not ready for the NFL. He's far away far away as of today. Listen, here's the problem. I didn't really necessarily think that Arch Manning was like wild. Like it was just like, oh my goodness, he's trash. No, that wasn't it. The problem with Arch Manning and the situation with Arch Manning is the fact that they pushed this stuff so crazy is wild to me. You pushed all off season that you was like, yo, we was like, yo, let's see these quarterbacks play. You was like, no, I don't need to see him play. The quarterback isn't here. They're looking at, and then wouldn't say it. I mean, really? Like this is wild work. I'm sitting here saying, so you won't say his name because you know he only played 2 games. But you're telling me none of this matters? I said unacceptable. I can't do it. No, that's what certain people do in the media. DK1028, I appreciate you, man. RC, don't worry, Arch Manning got 6 years to get it right, like Dillon Gabriel. The Browns and the quarterback whisperer will wait on him. That's the wildest thing to me I've ever. To me, it's like I'm sitting here, right? And here's the problem. And people say, well, G. Bush, they got rid of Pickett a week ago. They got Pickett. Listen, no, you thought I was going to let you off the hook. I'm not letting you off the hook. You're not. I had to sit here and endure that nonsense for weeks and months about how Kenny Pickett was great as you were delivering propaganda, spreading it throughout the stratosphere about how good Kenny Pickett was. He wasn't. But that's the problem. You're parroting, you're repeating this stuff. And it's like, bro, anybody with 2 eyes can see it. Just like it's crazy how people sit up here and be like, oh my goodness, Arch Manning next. And I'm like, bro, what? How was Arch? He played 2 games. Think about this. They have him as the Heisman Trophy. The Heisman Trophy. They got him as the front runner. With 2 games, I've never seen that. I have, in my entire life, never seen it. I'm just keeping it real. No games. 2. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he lit nobody up them 2 games. He played like Austin P or something. What? Man, Patrick Williams. I appreciate it. G. Bush, love you, but I'll unsubscribe to every other sports podcast except yours. It's clear that the media and North Stefanski don't care about Shedeur except for getting clicks. Listen, here's what I told y'all too. No disrespect. No disrespect. I told y'all, I said, man, y'all might want to stop clicking on that stuff, bro. Because here's the thing. I ain't putting Shedeur Sanders on every thumbnail just to be like, all right, well, maybe people might get excited and be like, yo, let me click on that. But it's even worse because they'll put him on the thumbnail and then disrespect him. They'll throw him on the thumbnail and talk wild and reckless. I'm like, bro, why you got him on the thumbnail then? If there's nothing here to see, just leave it alone. Right? At the end of the day, you're like, what? Like, if there's nothing here to see, just leave it alone then. So sometimes you got to be, like I said before I left you, hey, you got to create, listen, you got to save your energy. Some of that energy that they be having, no, I'm not clicking on that. For what? Kirk Davis, welcome back. Hope you had a good vacation. Go Bucks. I had a spectacular vacation. But I had to come on here and get with these folks, Kirk, because they try to act like G. Bush was hiding. Man, you crazy? What I got to hide about it? Listen, last time I checked, everything I said was facts. When they was glazing, when everybody was coming on talking about, oh my gosh, Kenny, I said, bro, what are you seeing? Where are the throws at? They're gonna trade this man like it's trade bait. It is exactly what it is. Now everybody, oh listen, I knew Flacco was going to win. Yeah, you really did. For real. You had Flacco from the get. You had Flacco from the get-go, dog. Oh. Prince talk. What's up, Earl? You mad Kev got them 12s you wanted. Welcome back, brother. Great show. Hey man, listen, Earl. Yeah, I've been tapping in, bro. I've been tapping in. And guess what? You was right about that Kenny Pickett. Matter of fact, Earl hit me up when they traded him. I said, man, where Earl? You know, when somebody hit you up. I'm like, man, what happened to Earl? You know, people, when like certain people, because it was like at 10 or something. It was like 10 o'clock or something. I'm like, no. I picked up the phone. I'm like, dang, what happened to Earl? You know, when somebody call you at 10, you be scared. You like, hold on. I hope ain't nothing bad happen. He's like, man, I texted him back. I said, what's up, bro? He said, man, you see Kenny Pickett got moved. I said, we've been told you that. We've been told you they was getting moved. Me and Earl was sitting here being like, bro, I don't know what y'all talking about. We don't know what you're saying here right now. Yeah, he's getting moved, bro. Maybe it's time for teams to evaluate what they had and not speculate on kids who obviously aren't ready to play in this quarterback camp class is fake gold. Trizzy in the money. You hit it on the money. You know what the problem is? Man, I don't know. You know what the problem is? Sometimes the idea of something is so much more intoxicating than what it really is. And the funny part about this is it's the dichotomy, right? Because you have Shedeur Sanders, you got Arch Manning. For everything that they don't like about Shedeur Sanders, you have in Arch Manning 98% of the same thing. 98. The only thing Arch Manning doesn't do is have a sign like this with a rollie and wear jewelry. That's it. In terms of off the field, no problems. In terms of the family, comes from a great family. In terms of, they just, look, I would even say Arch Manning is probably a better athlete in terms of running. But the problem is not even on the field stuff. It's the fact that, like, I'm sitting here listening to people still talking about narratives and what are you talking about, man? You guys are still talking about that same stuff? Like, come on. And you're telling me that the quarterback is in next year's draft and we need to stop it, bro. Why don't you evaluate what you got in your own system? Because, and here's my problem too. If they had Arch Manning and Arch Manning was throwing the trash cans, people would be kind of mad, right? These guys be cracking me up. Cracking me up. G. Bush, you keep this up. Aditi gonna be crying on UCSS again, mad over the names Kevin Stefanski being called like they ain't stereotype Shedeur with the entourage. Hey man, listen. I listen. This is why I set my game up early. I set what I'm set. We're a week before the first game, right? We're a week before the first game. I am prepared because listen, remember, you listen, somebody tell me if I'm fat. Somebody tell me if I'm lying right now. I want to know. And I think I'm the first to point this out. When Shedeur Sanders played well in his first game against the Carolina Panthers, everybody said, whoa, pump your brakes. It's just one game. It don't really matter what he do next week because he's still going to be where he at. Don't get excited. It was against the threes. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't take too much into account for it. Don't even be worried about that, right? Remember, that's what they said. This is all a learning curve. He played well. I'm glad he played well and not bad. Clap it up, but it really don't matter, right? They downplayed the hell out of it. He didn't play so well the second game or the last game of the season. And all of a sudden, This is why people didn't want him. This is why people passed on him. He's not no good. This is why. He looks terrible. He's the worst I've ever seen. What happened to all that wait and tamper your expectations down? What happened to the just chill out a little bit? It don't need to be like that. Just let them grow, pump your brake. Remember all that? But as soon as he was ready to play bad, like I told you they was going to do, all of a sudden that was their signal to say he's no longer good. He's not an option. They need to cut him. So just let me just tell you this, because you know I was right then. I'm probably right now. When Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns don't perform well, be ready for it's everybody's fault except for Kev. It'll be the offensive line isn't playing. The guys are not paying attention. Or we don't have a quarterback. They're not going to be good till they get a quarterback. Even though you talked about how great you like Dillon Gabriel. Deliver. If that's your man and you draft him in the third round or all of the quarterbacks, don't then say, well, Dillon is small. Dillon, he doesn't have an NFL game. If he fails, don't be lining up to say why Dillon Gabriel ain't no good. Because you just at one point just said, this is this guy and this is why the Browns like him. But then you're going to cover for him when he don't play well? You can't have it both ways. Oh, here's the good old one I hate. Well, what did you expect? What did you expect? What is the expectation level? If the expectation level was already low, you know they didn't have a quarterback. How could you blame the coach? Well, what are we evaluating then? I thought we were evaluating everyone. If wins and losses and production aren't what we're looking for, what are we? How do you evaluate a coach then? If you just like him, maybe you like his personality, right? It just goes back to the same old issue. You let me know if I'm lying. Because we got this quote, and this is the reason I keep pulling the quote up. If the facts are against you, are you the law? If the law isn't against you, are you the facts? If the law and the facts are against you, just pound the table like hell and yell. And by the way, that comes too. I mean, I can't stand this. This is why we can't have nice things in Cleveland. It's ridiculous. I mean, every time I turn around, we're running somebody out of town. Yeah. Now you know the little trick. Because when they do that, that means the law and the facts is against them. Why you got all that emotional energy? Why you pounding the table? Why you yelling? Why you cutting people off? Why you screaming? Why you moving? Why you emotional? Why you got a fast talk? Why can't you let him say nothing? Why you doing all this extra stuff? You jumping up, down, doing backflips. Maybe you're telling on yourself because the facts and the law don't equate. You're saying one thing about how great this coach is or great this player is, but the stats don't back it. Your eye tests don't back it. The standard of burden in terms of comparing them to other good players in the league, your track record for drafting, all of that says not good. So what do you got to do? You got to jump up and scream like hell. Because if you say it the loudest, that means you think in your mind, you detracting from, we know you ain't logically connected. I used to be in debate class, and they always say, filibustering, stonewalling, and just being loud don't help you. As a matter of fact, it's a tell. You don't even believe what you're saying right now. Look at you all emotional, all in your feelings. Listen, that's why in debates, you got 3 minutes and 3 minutes. Presidential debate, you get 3 minutes, he get 3 minutes. When your 3 minutes is up, whatever you did with your 3 minutes is your 3 minutes. Don't be talking in his 3 minutes. That just went to show you your 3 minutes that you had was not hitting. That round was not hitting. In terms of battle rap, you had no haymakers. It was spotty. Your delivery was shabby. Your conviction wasn't there. The next dude get on. He delivering. He landed. His haymaker, his punchlines is landing. His flow is crazy. The crowd is interacting. They chanting 3-0. And what you want to do? Start talking through somebody's rounds. What you talking through his rounds for? You making gestures. Why he talking? Stop making hand placement. You had a chance to say what you was going to say 3 minutes. And you didn't get it done. Always remember this. Now I'm giving Carl Sandburg. When you hear you say, "Dang, G. Bush, you was dropping jewels." Always remember that. When you go to court, I tell people like this. I ain't even supposed to say OJ got off this way. Johnny Cochran made this. Johnny Cochran made this famous. The evidence looked crazy. The circumstantial evidence looked crazy. But you know what he did? When he pulled them tapes up and went through the past of he made the LAPD look crazy. Because you know what he did? He attacked the process. Yeah, your evidence might be this. Your evidence may say this, but how did you get the evidence? In what way did you get the DNA? In what way? What does this crime scene look like? Johnny Cochran made it look good. Had to spin back. See, you look different without 12. You know what they'll tell you, Triz? You know what they'll tell you, Trizzy and the money? They'll tell you that he wasn't nothing special. Wasn't nothing special. Right now, they had Salter out there. No disrespect to Salter. He's just not the same type player as 12. To be honest with you. Not the same as 12. Coach Barrow, 8928. They want finished products because they can't develop. Even blame Dorsey for poor offense. Here in the barbershop, I like to give people a fair rebuttal. What am I saying that's wild? As soon as Deshaun Watson was done, they's like, all right, I'm done with the plays. Here you go, Dorsey. And let him walk out there. And then they fire him at the end of the season. At the end of the day, somebody has to, your record matters. Your account matters. Jason Lloyd says, Kevin would have a job in 5 minutes if he was fired. It ain't going to be no head coaching job. All jobs ain't created equally. Willie Beeman. The Browns don't even have a wide receiver that has a 100-yard game this season. Yeah, I can't lie. Just a girl, 007. I just don't understand why the quarterback has to fit into Kevin's offense as opposed to building the offense around a quarterback or a hybrid. That's what the Commanders did. Thank you so much for the comment here. Because this is a main issue with the way the Cleveland Browns operate. And the main issue with the way the Cleveland Browns operate is this. When you are trying to build your offense around the personality of a coach instead of the strengths, skill sets, and the ability of your players, it's always going to end badly. It's going to end poorly. Because you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Instead of getting guys comfortable and doing what you need to do to get them comfortable, you run what you've always run. And I've shown you the graphics. It doesn't necessarily mean the Cleveland Browns were a bad offense. I'm just showing you what the numbers look like at quarterback. If you want a quarterback and you want its quarterback to be able to win games with his arm and to win, you would expect the quarterback to have, your offense to have an offense that is out at least inside the 20s. 1 year you have where he is 19th in passing. 19th. So for me, it's how do you want to build it? And that's the problem as I look at it. I think the Browns want to be a running style team. I look at the reason why they drafted Dillon Sampson and they drafted Quinshon Judkins is a problem. Quinshon Judkins is he's not nowhere near being signed, and who knows if he's going to get suspended. Those are the issues and the optics that come with that. So for me, I just don't know how they go about doing that and evaluating the quarterback when what they've had in terms of evaluation has not paid dividends. Even the way they go about playing the quarterbacks and what they're doing just doesn't make sense. The whole Kenny Pickett didn't make sense. So that's one of the things that I always struggle and wrestle with is if I want the Cleveland Browns to go and they want to have a quarterback and I see the way they handled the two quarterbacks this year, I don't have any faith that what makes me believe they're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I know exactly what to do with quarterbacks. I just don't see it. Don't see it. Mama Bell 70, man, you were missed. I want to thank everybody for pulling up. I missed y'all too. I missed the heck out of y'all, man. We had to come back and talk that talk. By the way, the season is coming up now, right? And here's the thing. I'm even, after I leave and come back, I'm even more interested. I'm even more interested in watching this preseason game and these regular season games than I ever been. Because I'm going to have an opportunity to sit here and wait and see. We all going to get a chance to watch. And let me tell you this. I'm not wishing no injuries on nobody. I'm not wishing none of that. I just know what the human body does after a certain point in time. And let me tell you, I got a firm believer, and I got a firm in here hunch that you're going to see both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders way faster than what you think. You're going to see both of those dudes way quicker than what anybody in the media and the Browns organization is going to let on. Because here's what it is. We just saw Kenny Pickett. Maybe they did want him to start. He never played a snap in a preseason. Joe Flacco is out there, right? He's 41. You do the math on that, right? Those guys are coming after him. They're not going to play with you. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, my job is to get you off your spot. And that's what we're trying to do. Make you move around. Let me tell you about this. You're going to see these two young dudes way quicker than you thought. You are one snap away from Dillon Gabriel being in the game. Due to the nature and his size, you're a couple of snaps away from Shedeur Sanders being in the game. Let's be clear about that. Let's be clear. Because by all the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, guess what? You have all these plans you want. They had a plan for Kenny Pickett. Didn't work out. Joe Flacco, they got a plan. Hopefully he's going to play 17 games. He throws for 300 yards. Hopefully we'll figure it out. But here's the problem with that. Joe Flacco, one play away from you having two rookies in your season, and then it gets real. And the problem that I have is you could have prepared them a little better. Now, in hindsight, when they're out there, the Browns are going to wish that they gave him more reps. The Browns are going to wish that they gave him more in the playbook. The Browns are going to wish that they didn't have him sitting on the side field playing around, because now those guys got to be ready to play. You're one play away. This is funny. TJ Jones, U6S. That's so crazy. Please review the role of the emergency quarterback. They must take the snap, line up under center or shotgun. So the emergency quarterback is this. So they have Shedeur Sanders as the emergency quarterback. The emergency quarterback is the guy that says, hey, if our first two quarterbacks get in and they get hurt or something happens where they can't finish the game, he's going to play, right? Joe Flacco is the number one quarterback right now. Dillon Gabriel is the number 2 quarterback right now. We can go over the roles. And so basically during the week, you're going to have Shedeur Sanders, who's going to probably be running scout team, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people say they signed Bailey Zappi off the practice squad or put him on the practice squad. Here's the thing. One of the reasons that you have Bailey Zappi coming in to run practice squad, and this is the thing that I was going to save to last, but you just kind of burned my whole thing. Thank you, TJ. I appreciate the super chat. You made me get to it a little quicker, but we'll get to it. We're just going to end with this. When they signed Bailey Zappi, right, it told me one thing. Now, all of a sudden, they need to develop Shedeur Sanders. So, how does that work? Well, Bailey Zappi, being on the practice squad, can run scout team. He's going to run scout team plays, right? So now what you can do is instead of Shedeur Sanders running scout team plays, he can be more in the mix when it comes to the game plan. Now, he's not going to get no snaps. Matter of fact, Dillon Gabriel ain't even going to get very many snaps. They just are there every single week, mentally preparing, getting ready, so that if something happens, they know the game plan. And to be truthful, I think I like this for Shedeur Sanders because it does two things. It gives him a preview of what you need to do when you are ready to play. So how the backup quarterback works and the guys underneath him, traditionally the third team quarterback could be a practice squad guy or a guy that would do scout team. In this case, it kind of frees him up a little bit. So now he could be in the meeting rooms. You can hear Stefanski as they put in the plan for the week, because every week the game plan is going to be a little different. So now it gives him an opportunity to be around that a little bit more and to hear and to see what it is that the game plan is like. So when he gets an opportunity to play, now guess what? He knows what the game plan, how Stefanski likes to think, what the installation during the week looks like, what are the tendencies that how they want to go about doing certain things. So both of the young dudes got to be ready, because here's the thing. If you're the emergency quarterback, you have to prepare as if you're the starter. So every check that Joe Flacco has, Dillon Gabriel got to have it. Every check that Shedeur Sanders got to have it, right? Because if he gets injured, you're the starting quarterback. So the game plan this week, you got to know the game plan. So it's good because now Shedeur gets to be a part of that. And that told me one thing. That told me that the Cleveland Browns they stopped playing games a little bit. Because see, you'll start to see all the preseason games, or we're gonna have you off to the side doing this. No. You notice it's a different type of time now. The difference is the reason they're gonna do that is now because if somebody gets hurt, he has to play. If Dillon Gabriel goes down, he has to play. So they're not gonna embarrass themselves on national TV by not having guys be prepared. Getting Bailey Zappi gives him more time with the ones, gives him more time to be around the room, not necessarily to play, but the mental reps and to see the way it looks. So that's my thought on that. And that's with the emergency quarterback and the backup quarterback. The backup and emergency guy, that's why they say in the NFL, you're always one play away. But for quarterbacks, it's more important because they have to know every single thing that the other people learn, right? You gotta understand that in a situation where you understand what's going on with that. So that's where we go with that. So let me see something. Second here. Okay, here we go. Good. Let me see. Make sure this is good. We get to give me 1 second here. Make sure this is on. All right, here we go. Let's get to this. A couple more here. Clint is him. One play away. That's the part that upsets. One play away, my G. That's the part that upsets me. Trying to hurt this young man and his family is going to hurt them in the long run. I'm just saying. A lot of the games that they was playing and skipping around, to me, it didn't make very much sense. Like, to me, it goes to the fact that why I always harp on this situation with the Cleveland Browns. It's they, instead of being proactive instead of being, out front and getting in front of some things. There's times where the Cleveland Browns just seems too reactive to me. And when you come from, business and you're doing things and you watch other teams and you watch other people play, it seems like they have a clear, concise plan going into it, right? The problem with the draft was it didn't seem clear, concise to take Dillon Gabriel, then Shedeur Sanders. Then you compound that when you have Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. He's kind of like your split ball and stuff. Then you get Pickett, you give him all the reps, he ended up leaving and getting cut. Tyler Huntley, you gave him reps, and instead of where's the plan? How are we planning on doing this? Because the reality is you are one play away from playing. If the end process is Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders, why not just ride with that after the draft? You could have rolled with that. It makes sense. Joe Flacco is a veteran. I still think he can spin it. I think he looked good the last preseason game. And I think Joe Flacco in the beginning does give you the best chance to win some games, right? But you have him in place. You give the reps to the young guys, and you could have been repping the young guys down, repping them we got you, Dillon and Gabriel and Shedeur, rep, everything. You're going to do ones and twos. We're going to switch back and forth. And I want them going with ones. That's why the infuriating thing for me was I already seen the end plan. The end game was always Flacco and the two young dudes. So if your end game was always going to be that, put them with these. Let's get them acclimated. I want Jerry Jeudy to see what the football looks like coming from a left-hand quarterback. I want the offensive line to be able to move and shift and figure out what it looks like when Shedeur is in the game or versus Dillon Gabriel or Joe Flacco. Like, you could have did that and kept it pushing. You'd have been further along. Now, it's just I always talk about self-inflicted wounds. It's just self-inflicted wounds sometimes, man. Leslie Rutherford. I couldn't believe that Kevin, Jimmy, and Andrew went to see Arch today. Arch. Hey, I didn't even know they went to. Here's this crazy. I didn't even know. I didn't know they went to see Arch. I figured they probably have scouts in the building. Arch played subpar and his O-line protected him well. Arch looked shaky. I thought it was disrespectful to Dillon Gabriel and Sanders. That's the business part of it is they're going to scout these dudes, and they'll probably scout way more quarterbacks too. But here's the problem. If the Cleveland Browns is banking on that and that being their savior, we got major issues. They got major issues. If you doing all that scouting and doing all that stuff, that's the problem I have. Like, what is your plan? Because you went out, you taking time, energy to do that, but we can't get these dudes ready to play for now. Come on now. Well, and by the way, put it in the chat. Let's see this. I need a grade. Listen, I'm forced to give. I need a grade from everybody. If you saw the game today, I need a grade for Arch Manning. I need a grade. Now, once again, I'm not sitting here saying, so when y'all attack me, D. Bush is taking everything out of context. Why would you ask about a first game at the Horseshoe against the top-ranked defense? No, I'm asking you for a grade for today. I'm just saying. Because remember, I'm just doing what I tell people to do. I don't pay attention to what people say. I go by and look at the game and figure it out myself. I figure everybody should be watching these games and figuring it out themselves. You let me know in the chat. We're going to go over them too. Open note test. Oh, man. Electronic cornbread. I love how you speak with your chest and bona fide inside. Stay on that vibe. It's the winning hand. History will smile on you. Glad I witnessed it in IRL. Stay on this beat. Hey, listen. Sometimes it's unpopular. It is. But I got to give you the work. Again, I'm just asking people. I mean, I turned around after I got done with my walk today, I turned around and my wife was like, hey, you gonna eat first? I said, no, I can't eat. She said, what you watching? Some in Ohio State on. She was like, okay. I said, she playing Texas. They playing Texas. She's like, Texas? Okay. You know, she more into she do, it's weird. She actually enjoys college football more because it's more exciting. But she don't take it serious like she take the NFL, right? She be watching Monday night and Tuesday night games. She be like, Josh Allen is on, I must watch. I'm like, dang, you watch Josh Allen? I watch all the good quarterbacks. So we sitting there. I said, you know who they playing? Arch Manning. Arch Manning? Arch Manning? He played today? I said, yeah, he played today. Here's how you know when somebody is balling or not. You know, she ain't really American in the way she be dialed in. So she pulled her little blanket up. She started looking through her TikTok. It was over. I said, oh, you on TikTok? She said, this Arch Manning, I don't see anything. I said, man, I can't lose 17 games for that. I need the letter grade. Let's get to it. What is the letter grade? Let's get to the bottom. Let's get to the letter grades. All right. Ooh, y'all. Ooh. Whoo. Let me get to them. Man, y'all cats is quick. Y'all be on the chat quick. Let me see. Here we go. D. Nicholas got a D. C minus. Mark Smith, C. C minus. C minus. C minus. Ooh. El Hombre, I need the grade. We didn't say if he's going. He might be all right in the future. He might be. I need the grade for now, though. Here we go. See a lot of C minus. Dang, the D coach. Coach got him at a D plus. Hey, by the way, that was a nice touchdown pass at the end. It was a nice touchdown pass. I like that throw. That throw saved him. And that pick they overturned, that D. C. D. F. Dang, bro. My tie, you got him at an F plus? What? C minus. C minus. Dang. C minus. Right now, the consensus grade right now is looking like a C minus. D, C minus. What you think over there? What you think? What the? We ain't even putting your grade out there, man. C minus. Man, this is getting rough. That's getting rough. My goodness. He averaging a C minus right now. Arch didn't take a sack for 39 yards. He'd be all right. Hey, listen, El Hombre, let me ask you this. Would you rather take a sack for 39 yards or a pick six? I don't think that's debatable, is it? Give me this. I'd take a sack for 39 yards and 40 yards. I could just punt. I was just asking. D, C minus, D. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we looking like C minus. We looking like C minus on that. Yeah, we looking like C minus. Put a poll up, G. I see how we doing. Hey, look, listen. I just threw it out there. I just threw it out there. I just wanted to see what the crowd was saying right quick because You know what I would give him? I give him a C. I had him at a C minus. I'm going to give him a C because, by the way, without that last touchdown drive, so with the pick and no points, I had him at a D. I had him at a D for a long time. He made a couple of throws at the end. I had him at a C minus. I pulled him up to a C because they actually did have the football back with a chance to do something. But I got him at a C. But I wouldn't be mad if somebody said C minus. Based on what people thought he was going to do, I wouldn't be mad if you said D plus. But here's the thing. I did discount the fact that it was at Ohio State. It was on the road. And it was, by the way, here's what we're going to do too. We're going to have a quarterback tracker. I believe Lenore Sellers plays tomorrow at South Carolina. I want to make sure that I get everybody to tighten up. Now that I know that I was unanimously won, by the way, I got the belt. The Kenny Pickett is not good belt award goes to G. Bush. Matter of fact, where my belt at? My belt. I told you, people's champ, the people's champ. I told you, you see it. I told you that Kenny Pickett was not balling. I don't want to hear no more Pickett stories. I don't want to hear no more glove talk. It's Dunsky. You lost. Not good. That's 1-0. G. Bush going into the second. 1-0. All the people that said Kenny, no, it's 1-0. We had to get to it and let y'all know that we was not playing around with y'all. We have been vindicated. So now you can add that to the list of things. I was vindicated on Deshaun Watson collusion. I've been vindicated on Kenny Pickett not being a baller. Now, let's get to all we need is a couple more things to happen. We know which one of those things are. Huh? I will be vindicated. G, the touchdown was underthrown and the receiver worked back to it and pushed off to create the space. That receiver saved him from that pick. He did. I'll give him credit for it. It was a D plus before that. I had to give him, I said, bro, you cannot come in here and get shut out. Don't you come up in here in the horseshoe and get shut out like that. And you supposed to be the savior? Turning the water into wine? You didn't give me that. Right? But here's what I'm excited to talk about this. The Game of Thrones is coming. Coming up next week, we're going to talk about it. I hate to say it. We're going to have to figure out how many games Joe going to play. We're going to have to figure out how many games Joe going to play. We're going to be watching this game like the Young and the Restless. We're going to be watching these games like, I wonder what Victor Newman is doing. Days of our lives, guiding light. Like the sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. And I'm going to be waiting for it with the smoke. With that being said, G. Bush is back Tuesday on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It is time to get it going. Get that energy level back and do what we need to do and keep it pushing. We ready to go. It's game week coming up this week. We got Tuesday. When you come back, you're going to get an Ultimate Browns. We'll get you ready for what we're going through the rest of the season. We'll get you ready for the Cincinnati Bengals, what I'm looking for, all that good stuff on Tuesday. Make sure you check it out. And then you don't got to worry about it. The season starts. The season starts, and guess what? I'm on every day. I ain't going nowhere. I'm on every single day. So you could be expecting to see G. Bush ready to go. My fits is ready. I got my back-to-school layaway out. How many of you know about that layaway? I got my back-to-school layaway. So my fits is on 100. And we about to have some fun this year, man. We're going to see 12 eventually. And I'm going to throw a pizza party when that happens. We're going to see Dillon Gabriel. We're going to see how that looks. And we're going to see Flacco to start this thing off. So if you know the Kool-Aid Mafia is in the building, we're going to see what the Cleveland Browns are going to do. And by the way, we bringing that fun back. UCSS Tuesday, ready to go. We bringing that energy. We bringing that fun factor and be ready to be locked in. We got a couple more here. We got a couple more. I love y'all. Not one Browns coach has called DG a franchise quarterback. Well, Dillon Gabriel, you have your opportunity now, don't you? Let's see what you do with it. Let's see what you do with it. Let's see how you get it. With that being said, this episode was sponsored by Arch Manning. Make sure you go get that Arch Manning credit card. I'm just joking. He might be all right. I'm just joking. Don't be mad at me. I already got a lot of people mad at me. The Mannings come after me. Don't worry. That being said, you never know what G Bush might show up, radio, television, or internet. But if you want the fresh cut, you want the fresh take on sports, come watch the dude G Bush. We'll give it to you. Glad to be back. Have a great rest of your weekend. Watch some college football, eat some good food. And as always, like I always tell y'all, go Browns.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the Barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The Barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the Barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.